Hello there, and welcome to the hair part of this chapter. In this video, I'll give you a quick overview of how I go about designing hair for a certain character. I don't have a lot to say about designing hair other than what's already been mentioned on how to draw hair in general and how to use references for it. However, I did call this "hair isn't that important," and I want to explain why I personally don't think it's a critical part of character design. It ties in with the situation of the same face syndrome, which I've talked about in the previous video. In the design stage, I personally don't think you should be in the mindset to rely on hair design to give your character uniqueness or expression, though it certainly can be a useful tool for it. That's the "it's not that important" part. This is especially relevant in cases where your character isn't a one-off character, i.e. if you're likely to draw them on different stages of their life or a journey that might require them to sport different hairstyles. And there's loads of reasons why you might want to change their hairstyle regardless, from narrative circumstances to your own boredom and desire to change it. That's a thing I think you should keep in mind whenever you design a character's hair, and I'd go an extra step and recommend that you play around with at least 2 different hairstyles for the same type of hair, even if you're already set on the final one. I'm going to show you a rough process of designing hair for the character you saw earlier, whose design is pretty much final. For this particular purpose, I decided to give them different hairs and see how that went. We've got a few different hair types to start with. Their normal curly mess, a fully straight one, and a fluffier type of hair. After deciding on this, I moved on to hair length, which involves some hairstyling as well. Lastly, we've got the actual hairstyle. In here, I just tried tying it up, pulling it back, etc., since there isn't all that much you can do with the 2 shorter hair lengths. Again, it's an exercise you can do if your character has hair that can be styled, that isn't fully shaved or too short. As a side note, I think this is a particularly important exercise if you've already got a character with hair that covers their face partially and aren't used to drawing them with their full face in sight or hair pulled back. It's easy to lose track of what's underneath. As for hair color, it's another thing I'm not particularly attached to. I have here 3 hair shades for Ao that are all very much canonical, at different times and in different circumstances. While you should know what the base color is, or the character's natural hair color, there might be room for changes, so I don't think it's super important to have the hair set and defined from the get-go. On the subject of coloring hair though, I do like to add some variation to it no matter the tone, with the exceptions being fully black or fully white hair. For the other tones and hues, I like to have a gradient that's either lighter on the tips or at the roots, just for the sake of easy texture. If I have, say, brown hair, I'll generally airbrush a lighter, yellower hue on one end and a darker, redder hue on the other. In terms of how to decide on hair type, hair length, hairstyle, etc., it all ties in with the things that I talked about previously in the first subchapter. What their lifestyle is like, what types of hair treatments they can afford or would be interested in affording, the importance of having their hair look good versus be practical, and so on. A character in a situation that requires them to always be on the run, for instance, might be more likely to keep their hair short or tied up, or might not be able to have it with a clean cut. A character that's more averse to eye contact might want to have their hair cover their face full or partially. That's the sort of thinking that I normally have. As a side note, this hair logic would also apply to facial and body hair for the most part. I'm just not big on giving characters facial hair, it just slips my mind a lot, but that's the personal preferences and biases kicking in. To finish this video off, I'm going to show you the part of designing V where I drew their hair, which I left cut out of the previous subchapter. There really isn't that much to it since I pretty much went with the first try. You can see here, I took it up from where I finished the face and moved on to the hair. I've decided to make V's hair also contrast Ao's hair in the sense that where Ao's hair has curls and loads of directions, V's hair is naturally straighter and organizes in spikes. A bigger contrast would be achieved if I just had V straighten their hair entirely, but that might then clash with their more chaotic, messy personality, which would probably cause them to cut it in very random ways and have it all over the place. As I mentioned earlier, V's personality is more erratic and effusive than Ao's. Unlike Ao, they might have a preference for keeping it long and arranging it different ways, as they're more openly expressive, so the first thing that came to mind was a quick messy ponytail to add more volume and a better silhouette to it. I also tweaked the face a bit more, which is a recurring thing whenever I'm drawing a character, to be honest. It's the part I'm most picky about. To fix the face and hair shape as a whole here, what I did was press Command T or Control T to go into transform editing mode, then hold Command or Control while dragging the sides or vertices I want to freestyle edit the mesh. Just another little Clip Studio Paint tip. One thing that helps me a lot while sketching is to never get caught up in cleaning up the sketch, and for that again, the big brush size is a big help. Unless I'm working directly on top of a 3D base, which I'll show you on the last video of this chapter, I'll seldom go for clean lines to begin with, or even at all. In general, I'll clean up a little as I go so that the thicker lines don't prevent me from seeing the drawing to the level of detail I want, but that's about it. After adding a little bit of shading just like I did with Ao, I call the hair complete and move on to the body as you saw in the previous video. And that's it for this video. Our next video we'll be looking at designing clothes and get these two better dressed up. See you then!